Hello, and welcome to another episode of the SENDhelp podcast. And today I was with Sharon, but we've got Lauren on as a guest today. And Lauren is in a good position, like kind of similar to us. She's a parent and she's got a business and helps out in SEN, but I will let her explain more in depth of what she does.
Hi,
So,
thank you,
yeah,
Nathan. I'm Lauren, and so I run now my business is called Victory-us. I'm an SEN teacher and advocate. So what Victory-us does is completely bespoke to parents and their families. I mainly specialise in supporting children with EOTIS packages, children that can't fit into schools right now for whatever reason, either mainstream or SEN schools provisions. So I support them with bespoke curriculums, advocacy to get their needs met, as well as I do one-to-ones with like tutoring and PA support. But the whole idea of Victoria is it is tailored to you. We're out of the system. I'm an independent teacher, so I can actually truly see the child and work towards that. I specialise in emotional regulation and behaviour because that's what I was doing in autistic provisions before. But I did leave the system and have my own children because too many children are without school placements, and we're at the point now, is are school placements even appropriate for all children? So how does that look, and how do we support that? And so yeah, that is what I do now.
yeah. Well, and that leads us on to the great other that being like my follow-up questions on that is like, how have you found all of that in the midst of the crisis that's in front of us at the moment with SEN kids being off school and all of that?
So a lot of my work, other than some of the tutoring and stuff I do, is advocacy. Parents just at their absolute wits' end with battles of the LA, especially children that are without placement. And so I live in Dorset. We've got really, really high home education rate. And parents are just absolutely lost and they feel bullied, they feel stuck, and they feel penalised. And so a lot of my work now, I love doing it and I love being able to offer a curriculum to children and offer that support to parents. But it is that one-to-one advocacy that I do so much and there's so much need for it, and which I wish there wasn't. So I
Yeah,
find it great being able to teach the children that are in front of me and teach and see what they need without the complications of assessments and curriculums, all that kind of stuff.
yeah.
But the
When
need
you
for
say
advocacy and the
advocacy,
parent just being heartbroken.
yeah,
So
when you no, no, when you say about advocacy, how does that look? Because obviously teaching, is one thing, and there's a huge need for it because our children, the systems aren't set up for them. So what does advocacy look like?
So for me, child's voice is always centre of what I do, but obviously that looks like a lot of advocacy with the parents, through the parents. I like to get to know every single situation and child as an individual. So
Yes.
I will just spend time advocating for the parents and what does that look like? What would an ideal situation look like for your child? And then how do we go from that? So obviously I have like a consultation and chat to the parents, and then most of the advocacy that I do does look like EOTIS packages or getting the right support for a child in schools or accommodations. And I feel like there's some fantastic advocates out there, SEN advocates, but I feel like because I've been on the ground for 15 years as a teacher, I know what's feasible. I see certain outcomes on EHCP and I'm like, that is ableist. I saw one
Yeah.
yesterday that was to communicate about their ear defenders and to
Oh my
sit still.
goodness.
We saw it on the app, to sit
It's
still for
still,
3 minutes. That's like asking me to breathe without my inhaler. It's like asking a
it's
child to see without their
ridiculous.
glasses. Like, what? I
It
just
seems so obvious though, doesn't
mhm.
it? And yet time and time again, because part of my role when I was a head teacher, you see all the EHCPs coming through and some of the targets are shocking. They're just explaining almost what the disability is and then asking, it's like if you were in a wheelchair, it would be to stand up for 5 minutes without your wheelchair. It's just
Exactly
ridiculous.
that.
Practice sitting still.
Yeah, because
I
who
still
is that?
haven't got that down.
No, never. But why should you? Who is it a problem
It,
for if you're not sat down learning? If you need ear defenders on for a certain amount of time, like when we write these EHCPs, who are you writing them for? Are they to support the
yeah,
child, or are they so that the teacher has an easier life? Like
yeah.
that's my issue with targets like that. I've seen ones before, and this was in an SEN provision, but they come from mainstream, fit in with their peers. Why? Why?
That's horrible. That's
Yeah, I
horrible.
got
And do
that
you
whipped
know
out quick
what?
time.
I'm going to hold my hands up as a teacher. I've done some of these mistakes, but it was a long time ago and I learnt from it and I moved on. I don't understand why the same mistakes are still happening and they're not putting the child at the centre and there isn't anybody overlooking this. And like you said, parents then have to battle with Senkos, with teachers, it's crazy.
it's from, I've just done a video about this and I got a lot of heat on it. Uh, I think people misunderstood status at first, but basically I've explained what you just said, how schools are not set up for neurodiverse kids and they're more
Yeah.
about punishing and about rules. And a lot of teachers got their back up. And even if you've never working in a school and doing blah, blah, blah. I know,
And you were like, I
yeah,
have worked in a school, actually.
yeah, of course. But like, I know, not that I'm right, but I know from what I'm seeing on a daily basis, teachers really ain't got anything to say in that sense.
No.
But is that what the problem is? Is the problem is that it's one side or the other, and that teachers obviously are going to gravitate towards other teachers because they protect our own, which then causes a rift. And you just get the odd one teacher that wants to be the good for the parents, but it's just like seems like two battles.
But
Because
it's
they're not listening.
about
It's not like
training. No,
yeah,
it's
but if
about
you listen about what's going on, everyone can see kids that have got ADHD are getting punished for their symptoms. It's not teachers know that, but they're not doing
yeah.
anything about it. And then when you're putting
But they
pressure on the
don't.
teachers, they're saying it's all
Yeah.
you don't understand what it's like, you don't understand this.
But I also think, Nathan, like we've said before, I think ADHD and autism are really, really, really misunderstood.
Yeah.
They think that ADHD is, oh, it's the naughty child. It's the, they don't understand the psychological symptoms, what's going on in your head, the impulse control or lack of it. And autism, again, it's misunderstood. I think people think they get it. And then, we've been into schools, Nathan, haven't we, that were doing training and it was run by a credible organisation, but the training wasn't very good. It was too basic.
but
It wasn't saying, what can we do to support you as teachers and what can we do to support children and parents? It was very much being spoken at.
If parents can learn through social media, teachers don't have that excuse.
Yeah. No, I get it.
They don't. It's more about the majority. The majority doesn't have it, and it's still about attendance. It's still about grades. It's still about this. And until that shifts, it's never going to change.
But I will say, teacher, I think a lot of it it's like everything in this country and the world for that. It's not the teachers, it's the people on top.
Yeah, of
It's
course.
always, the teachers are, this is why I left, because you are shut down by, this is how it looks, this is how it is. Especially in mainstream schools, they're given 1 day of SEN training. That is it. And if it doesn't look like how they think autism should look, if it doesn't look like how ADHD should look, well, they're fine at school.
And it
There's a
comes
thing
from
called
the top.
masking. Yeah, it comes from the top.
Masking, don't look.
Yeah, and I think
and
it's all great.
politicians at the moment speaking out carelessly, just these one-liners or these, when actually if they were to go away and actually learn and understand, or if they had a child or they had a niece or a nephew or someone in their family that was having these struggles, we don't choose to have ADHD or autism. It's something we've got to live with, and we, it's just it's irresponsible, the comments.
But some of them do then have family, and that goes the other way around. It's that, oh well, my blah blah blah's got autism and they don't do like that. Well done. It's a spectrum. It's a neurotype. It's not a one size fits all thing.
Absolutely.
And I think that's what it is. It's like, well, we've got this bank of strategies. We've got this bank of outcomes. You fit into that, and it doesn't work like that. And then you put trauma on top of that. And I think, to be honest with you, the whole education system, not only for our neurodivergent children, it's not working for any children. The very, very small minority, because they're still doing the same stuff that they were doing 100 years ago for a system that we've moved away from. We're not creating workers anymore. We're creating creatives. We've got the internet now. We've got social media. We've got grafters. Why are we not out there doing like life skills?
Life
like leaving
skills,
school.
because and because learning how to manage money, all of the basic stuff, knowing what a mortgage is, knowing what you don't seem to any of that.
They don't know about the stuff like that. They don't know about even like in schools. People, especially in SEN schools, they're scared to talk about the real stuff. I'm talking, about sex, about race, about all these things that then make them vulnerable. I left school knowing how to calculate Pythagoras theory, but I couldn't emotionally regulate.
No.
I couldn't do my taxes. I couldn't do any of those things because
how often have you used pi in your life?
Never.
Yeah,
A, B, C, double. Well,
yes.
It just makes me so upset because then I feel like the whole school system is, what boxes do you need to tick?
Yes.
We're not teaching kids how to learn, we're teaching them what to learn. And I think they're not teaching them how to free think, to protect themselves. And a lot of our learners, especially, they're vulnerable. And that's why I'm so
Yes.
passionate about teaching sex ed and consent, because they are
Me
so
too.
vulnerable. I was teaching 19-year-olds that are still calling their penis their winky and their bum bum. It's like,
Yeah.
they're so
Yeah.
vulnerable, and you've got to be real.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say one thing, because also, we know that in any job, you get people that are really good at what they do,
Yeah, of
and then you
course.
get people that aren't so good. There are some great teachers out there.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
the teachers that are looking outside the box and are creative and have a heart and are passionate and see the child, not the behaviour, if that makes sense, or the
Oh,
disruption.
yeah.
But like you've said, unfortunately, with politicians, with senior leadership teams, if they don't have that insight and their passion,
Mhm.
and they are just ticking their boxes because they want their attendance to be a certain way, but then are they under pressure from governors? Are they under pressure? So
It
I
all falls
hate tick
down, doesn't
boxes.
it, from the top?
Yeah, I
The
hate
pressure
tick
just falls
boxes.
down.
Money
But I
and
do,
data. That's all it is.
yeah, I think, as you said, teachers are, it is why it's hard, because it sounds like I don't like teaching in that sense. Majority, I don't like them as a team. The odd ones that you're talking about that stand out are the only hope that our kids have. And if it wasn't for them, they wouldn't get diagnosis, they wouldn't get into the schools they need, they wouldn't get this.
Yeah,
They still have the powers. It's not, they can't all be bad, because there wouldn't be no success stories. But what my
yeah,
problem is, they're so far and far through between them
Mhm.
good teachers and the good teachers that you even speak to that are being good are telling you they're going against
Yeah.
so much of what
yeah.
the schools requiring, that they're often putting their job on the line, or sacrificing looking competent in their teaching job because they're spending so much time on extra on design of a child. So even if they
Yeah.
are, they're kind of getting bullied out of being like that, or it's just not possible to
Well,
be
we
like that in
leave.
school.
Now
We
on the head.
leave. Look,
You
Lauren's
leave, yeah.
left.
Well, that's what
I've
happens.
left.
Yeah.
But I will also say, you have to be, and it's almost like, Nathan, when you've said about being a professional parent, you, as a teacher, you have to be prepared to butt heads with people, and that's not nice, and that's not in everybody's nature. I'm outspoken. I would, if I agree, if I think something should be done a certain way because it's in the right, it's the right thing for the child, I will stick my neck out. Not everybody's
Yeah.
themselves. Do you agree, Lauren? I can see you nodding.
Yeah, well, I got called feisty by doing it. And you know what?
Yeah.
I got to the point, that was the icing on the cake for me. I was like, I got called feisty, and I got called, and bear in mind, I was like behaviourally, I was feisty for speaking up for what was right.
Yeah.
And then when I was 8 months pregnant, it was written on my, what's it called?
Supervision or
Your review,
your
your
yeah,
yearly review, whatever it's called. Appraisal, that's the word.
performance management. Yeah,
Yeah,
an
so my
appraisal.
appraisal said that I have emotional reactions.
Oh, no, appraisal.
Yeah, because I give a fuck. And that was then I
Yeah.
was like, you know what, I'm done.
Yeah.
I came back after my one baby I had my babies really close together, and I loved the school. I loved the kids that I worked with, but it was all about showing face, data,
Fitting
assessments,
in.
and it was just
Fitting in.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, fitting in. And I was like, I can't
Yeah.
stand here. There's still no behaviour ethos. There's still not, like, because we've got to jump through all these loops and do all this
Yeah.
stuff with, paperwork's necessary in some ways, like safeguarding paperwork, all that kind of stuff. I understand that. But then when we're spending time on assessments and lesson plans for a dated curriculum, where we could
Oh.
be spending that time getting to know the kids
Yeah.
and, focusing on mental health, focusing on sex ed, and it's just all those things get missed because we're jumping
And
through hoops.
it's a holistic approach that is needed in education, full stop.
The
And there's
child-led approach is what's
more.
needed.
Yeah,
as well.
there's more about mental health now, which is great, but it's still not fully integrated. So
Oh.
mental health, neurodiversity, all these things, again, it's more of a tick box. It's like, oh yes, we've got a mental health first aider. Oh yes, we've got Senko. It doesn't mean that that's
No.
going to improve anything if it's not everybody working together.
This is it, because I did like a Rights and Respect in Schools initiative. We'd
I
run
did
Black
that.
History Month. I got
Yeah.
the silver. I was really proud of it. But then,
I
and
was.
the same with Black History Month. Okay, we've done that in October, tick box, and it's not spoken about. We're not
No.
still running as actively anti-racism. We don't speak about it again.
No.
Same as we might touch a little.
I changed what I taught in one of my classes because all the boys in my class were black, and we were meant to be doing Florence Nightingale. And I was like, so I did Mary Seacole.
Yeah, wicked.
because I thought, I know I did. And the really funny thing was, it was then on EastEnders that night they spoke about Mary Seacole. Why are you blinking, Nathan?
No, because I was so happy that you did not end up by saying something like Toilet and Board Bob Marley.
No,
So something like
we were doing Mary
please
Seacole.
don't, please don't.
She was a nurse, and she didn't, because she was a black nurse. I'm guessing she didn't get the notoriety that she should have done. Florence Nightingale did. I didn't know. I didn't learn that at school. I just thought, this is what I want to do for my class, because they can maybe get more from it than me teaching about Florence Nightingale. I'm not saying I shouldn't have done that, but it was great. I mean, you know, and again, racism. Sorry.
What people miss with is this is coming from someone of colour. When you have something like Black History Month, why do you think that that's going to do anything but target you even more? With immature 11, 12, 13-year-olds that you're going in, now you've given them the names, now you've given them the circumstances, now you give them the history of why they're calling you what they're calling you. Why schools think it's a great idea to just put it out there half-assed anyway is crazy.
It's
Then that's what I'm saying. What that does is, again, if you think about it, and there's 2 black people in that school, you've done a whole ceremony about why they're black and different and what they've gone through. You've highlighted them, and then you've not given them any protection from that going forward. And what you have given is all the kids banter to tell them new names, new little situations. Like they might have just watched Roots now, so they know to call you Kinsey. Like, do you know what I mean? It's just, it never ever is going to have the positive effect because they don't put the effort in. There's no point showing it. You're making it worse.
I think this is a big thing. It's all good about being not racist and happy to talk about, you know, Black history, absolutely. But it's actually about, how do we be anti-racist?
Yeah.
Are we actively teaching that? Are we teach about racial bias? Because even with Black History Month, as much as I would talk about, you know, influential black people, absolutely, especially black autistic individuals, I'd speak about them. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about who the children in front of me are, and how are we going to notice that? How do we stand up and advocate? How do we use the correct language? I had a child that he was fascinated by heritage, and he would just ask people, he'd go to me, Lauren, why is your skin white? And then he'd say to other children, why is your skin black? And, you know, I taught him, we ask about heritage, and having that kind of ethos running through, that is proactively anti-racist. It's okay to talk about heritage, and it's okay to ask questions, and it's okay, you know, I think representation all year round is important, like resources. Like, do you know how hard it was to find when I was running sex ed? I don't know how my computer didn't get reported. I was looking for models of genitalia. They're all bright blue or white. So for autistic, bright blue. So obviously, I'm thinking, you know, like literal thinkers. I found a white
worrying.
model. Yeah, and the boy said to me, "That doesn't look like my one," and I was like, "Well, yeah." But actually, what he actually meant is that he was circumcised, and it was one. And I was like, oh. So I hunted high and low to get a black model.
I'm surprised you didn't get shut down. Your computer didn't get shut down.
They must have flagged it up.
Yeah.
So some of the things I had to type in trying to get resource, because, you know, they need to physically see these things happen. Yeah, but the inclusion's absolutely dire in that.
There is none, is there? It's not inclusion. It's exclusion. As I said, it's just highlighting the difference ever. It's never including you in. It's always highlighting the differences between you and everybody else, which is not what you want, because you might not. And again, it's even going by stereotypes. I worry what they teach in them Black History Months, as in what it's like to be black. Considering, I was just thinking as you're talking about that, I don't think I've ever come across a black teacher yet.
Where you are?
I don't know.
That's where we live.
Yeah, I've only come across black people. Full stop. My husband's the only one.
And this is what I mean. If you've got some London, I can see that I might be a bit more educational because you've got black teachers there. But just having that, it's a chain reaction, isn't it? Because the chances you go and get done, what you go through as a kid, then how hard it is to overprove. You don't go to a teacher, and it's always going to be run by people that have no idea what it's like. They can only guess. They can just guess. Yeah.
And I don't get it. As a white person, I don't get it. Obviously, I've lived in London for 10 years.
I'm mixed race. I don't get it. I'm only halfway there, as they keep telling me.
But that's a whole, you know, the whole mixed heritage identity, that's a whole different story as well, because that's other situations there. And I think a lot of my friends that are of mixed heritage, they talk about growing up and they were like, I felt too black to be white and too white to be black. And then my friend always said to me, because obviously my children are mixed heritage, she said, at the end of the day, the police are going to see me as black, so I'll own my blackness.
Yes.
And that's the sad truth. I'm teaching my children not to trust them.
No, we spoke about that and how hard that is, because you know, we don't going to maybe go off too much, but it is a fact. You know, you look at statistics of stop and searches, and you know, it is a fact. And unless you've lived through that, or you wouldn't know. And I think it's really easy for
It's
someone.
ignorance of bliss, isn't it? Yeah, because
Yeah,
it's another
yeah,
thing, like what I said about the teachers, and the teachers all got annoyed about the full context of really reading what I'm saying. If you start saying to people that black people or someone gets picked on differently, all you get is counter arguments of how they don't and how they get everything they deserve and blah 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 blah. Again, it's not. It's a conversation that's not spoken about. People don't want to have that conversation.
yeah,
People don't want to
yeah,
have that conversation and bring it to the light. People will shut that down in an instant. In a workplace, if you bring it up, you're going to get moved. If you highlight racism say you're a staff member and there's 7 staff and you say they're getting racism, something's happened, they'll move you to another home. They won't
yeah,
talk to
yeah.
them to do that. Very rarely. If you raise it in
It's not
school,
addressed, is it? It's
yeah,
uncomfortable.
in
Yes.
school, like I've just found out, it gets underplayed. And no, they didn't do that. They don't even want to take it into the realm of it actually happening. Ignorance is bliss. It's to the
Yeah,
last possible moment, they might go, oh, maybe it might be a little bit. Too late by then. You've got to be aware, like we would have to be at the beginning,
yeah,
that this could be going this way because of that.
Yeah, and silence is complicity. Like,
yes,
as a
Yep.
white person, if we keep our mouths shut, like, that makes us complicit.
yeah.
And so many people, like, if you start a sentence with, I'm not racist, but you probably are. Yeah, probably are.
Yeah, you probably are. The fact that you need to let us know and you've drawn the attention to it, you clearly are.
Misha, it's so hard. And I feel like I said to you guys the other day, like, I can advocate for other people's children through the absolute roof. I can do it so well because I see the child and be like, right, bam, 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 that's what they need. When it's my own babies, that's a different kind of fire. It's a different kind of, you know, that's your children.
It's so
my job to
hard.
keep, I'm passionate,
Yes.
and I get frustrated, and I'm a bitch. Like, I
Yeah.
wouldn't be professionally, but when it's my babies, they're mine. Like, it's so
Said this to
different.
you, Lauren. I said to you, I did a little video for our app because I speak to so many parents and I am exactly the same. I can go into any meeting, I can hold my own, I can advocate, I can, you know, challenge. When it's about myself or my children, I'm a blubbering wreck and I cry, or I get so passionate that it comes across as aggression, perhaps, or anger, and you're misunderstood. And I did it not that
Can I
long ago
just
with a doctor and ended up with a waggy finger. And I walked out and thought, why did I just do that?
go back into what we're talking about race is a luxury that I don't have.
Yeah,
I can't even go in like that. I can't even go in. I'm already on the back foot going in there thinking this jump touch, how going to do it. I have to be extra careful, extra
Yeah,
professional, extra, and they're baiting me for the baiting me. They just know. And even if
yeah.
you're taken seriously, it's annoying.
There will
yeah,
be stereotypes and pre-assumptions about you, and I think so many black parents are gaslit from the first go.
yeah,
It's that,
yeah.
oh, well, it's cultural, it's this, and there's assumptions, there's X, Y, Z.
Oh,
And I feel like if I'm very passionate and I'm very feisty. If I come with that same energy that person of global majority came with, they'd be aggressive. I'd be passionate.
yeah,
And
yeah.
that's the
No,
issue.
exactly. Yeah, it's the wording and it's how people are perceived, and it's judgment, isn't it? And stereotyping,
But that's
which
the
is
bias
dangerous.
that people don't get. And you have to
Yeah,
sometimes bring that to light. Like I was telling you guys about with a situation with my daughter's nursery. And I said, it was to do with my husband, who was obviously a global majority. I said, why are you talking to me, not him? That's racial bias. And this is what I was calling
yeah,
up. And they were just perplexed by it. They're like, oh,
yeah.
but
They
it's
didn't
nothing
understand.
to do, it's nothing to do with race. I'm like, but question yourself.
Mm.
Why me? I'm not his manager. You know, if it was the other way round, if he was white, they would have spoke to him. And everyone knows that. And like, obviously they were great and I did get an apology, X, Y, Z, but I think it was only because the founder was a global majority. If it was anywhere else, and I was absolutely rubbishing myself because everyone else is white. Everyone in that nursery is white. So I'm like, if something offensive is said to my children, and if they were SEN, if they are, you know, a global majority, who's advocating for them when I'm not there?
Absolutely.
That's
Yeah.
always my worry.
Mm.
And I think if people don't see a problem, they're not going to advocate for them.
No. So the issue is overall, you're both teachers and you both come out the field. So that's great and amazing to help the kids that are out of school. But ultimately, you want kids in school. What do you think needs to change?
Let's talk school in general. What needs to change?
Just like the main thing. What's the biggest thing the thing that they can change right now that will just open the doors to like the most amount of kids?
I might get some hate for this. Scrap the national curriculum.
Yeah.
Scrap it
But
all. Start again. Start
Mhm.
again. Child-centered. And I'm not just talking about SEN. I'm talking, right,
Everything.
what children have we got in front of us? What future careers are we looking at now? Let's gear it towards there. I
Yeah.
think
It
until
doesn't
we are
need to
ready to change
be.
the game, we're not doing it.
It doesn't need to be GCSEs.
No.
Everybody has got their own strengths. We've all got things that we're good at. It doesn't mean, and some people are really good at sitting still at a desk
Yeah.
and taking verbal information in and then doing an exam, and some people aren't. And why is it only set up for them to be successful and not the people that are good with their hands or are creative or have got, all the studying we do after school, which actually we can then choose, and, it's not
Do you think
geared
it
up.
is? Do you know what else as well? That someone put a comment as well on another post about, yeah, but back in the day we used to get hit and beaten. Yeah, that's fair enough. But there's a difference when kids are going into school sitting still because they're scared.
Yeah,
That's
it's about
completely different. So
control.
once you've taken that away, and you know now that teachers have got the least power they have, you're seeing an outcry of the kids' behaviour because they feel comfortable
Yeah,
that they're not going to get smacked for it. But this has always been there. It's always been
yeah,
there.
it
It's just that
has.
they got hit for it before, so no one's going to keep
And you were
misbehaving,
sat in a
ADHD or
corner.
not.
You were sat in a corner with a great big hat on that had a D on it.
Yeah.
I mean, I
And are they
wasn't. I'm not
paying for
that
our
old.
therapy? No, they're not.
No, they're not. Exactly. The
That
therapy that we need because of that. Exactly.
Yeah. And I hate this whole narrative. Same with, oh, autism didn't exist in my day. All right, Bill, with your plates lined up that you never
Yeah,
touch. Yeah, it
yeah,
did.
yeah,
It's just,
yeah,
yeah. And I think that obviously living in the same sort of area, I live in quite, like I said, very, very white population, quite an elderly population. People just think they've got a right to talk about your kids and just question
yeah,
everything. And I think as an SEN parent, I know parents that don't take their children out because they get judged and they get
yeah.
comments that honestly, I've got no tolerance for it. It's like my child, unless you birth this child and they are safe, why are we commenting? But
Yeah.
it's just, I'm talking strangers on the street. And that,
Yeah.
Mhm.
I know so many SEN parents that then won't take their child out. Because if their child melts down, you're going to have people staring and all that kind of
Oh,
stuff.
it's horrible.
It
It's
is.
horrible.
Not just randomers either, friends and family they don't take them to because they don't understand it, and they
Yes.
say even ban them from coming in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You lose
And we've
people.
spoken. That's why we created the app, the SENDhelp app, because we are so mindful that you get when you have additional needs yourself, and when you then have children that maybe have got different types of behaviours and different, ways of behaving, your friendship and your circle gets smaller and smaller, and you become more isolated.
It's
And
lonely.
you think you're going mad some of the time because you think, am I doing it wrong? Is it me? Is that
Yeah.
because being a parent, full stop, there's no rule book, or wish there was. But as
Yeah.
an SEN parent, you start thinking, your family judge you. Are they saying that you're not a good parent? You get
Mhm.
sent on parenting courses.
Don't even get me started on that,
I
Sharon.
know, honestly. And do you know what? I've spoken to people that have said, I did it. It was okay, but it doesn't change your child.
No.
It doesn't change the complexity of their needs
No.
and their, and so your circle gets smaller and smaller. People are saying, oh, they're just naughty, or the looks you're
Yeah.
getting. And
You let
when
them
I
get
was
away with it.
working, exactly, when I was working, I didn't care. You have a meltdown, because that was my job. And I know that it's different when they're your own children, because you do carry guilt and you do carry, that around with you, and the comments and like you're saying, people just thinking they can comment. And sometimes you feel like saying, oh, do you think you can do a better job? Do it. Yeah.
Honestly. I'm like, what would you do in the
It's,
situation then?
yeah. Go on,
Like,
tell me.
yeah. And it's just, but I think that's why it's so lovely that you have got that community, and that we do drop-in sessions and stuff with parents, because it's lonely. There's no
Yeah,
trained
it is.
PAs to look after your children. You can't just, go to babysitter when you've got an autistic child.
Oh,
It's hard enough for me to trust my children with anyone. There's no trained PAs. There's just people that are off the street, DBS, that will do. So
absolutely
these parents don't
dreadful.
have a
Oh, I
community.
shouldn't say that. Dreadful. PAs that are just, they need the
No,
money but
yeah.
have no understanding or training. And that's quite shocking, really, that
It
is
breaks my
seen
heart.
as a position that doesn't count, because it does count. you know, being in transport or whatever with a child who's got different needs, and you
Yeah.
haven't been given any training, and you know, you're just turning up and doing your best. It's just not.
And
It's
it's not
showing that it's not
fair.
respected, or it's not. Yeah.
No, because I do workshops, you know, based on like an all are welcome. Do you know what's lovely? I do collabs of like parents and professionals, and it's so
Yeah.
lovely to see that. And I think PAs and carers is one thing that's really missed in terms of training, because at schools you do training. But when I was looking the other day, I was looking at teaching agencies. I thought, oh, you know, I might do a couple of days supply every now and again. I
Yeah.
won't, because I thought I can't do it, because I'll
I
end up
thought
not
of
being able
that
to keep my
recently.
mouth shut. So I'll probably go like therapeutic teaching route and just do some, you know, SEN. Anyway, beside the
Do you know what it
point.
is, Lauren? You'd have to go back in and just conform again. And I don't know. I
can't.
literally had someone reach out to me saying they've got a position at this SEN school. Would I
Yeah.
fancy blah blah? And for a moment, I thought, oh, because I love
Me
working
too.
with. I
Yeah.
love it. But you know what? I would be pissed off after 5 minutes.
Me too.
It would be like, can you fit into this little box, and can you do this? And I can't. I've done
And
it.
this
I've
is
done
it.
it.
And it's such a shame, because, like, without sounding arrogant, I'm a really good teacher. I
Yeah.
love
Yeah.
teaching, but we aren't funded and supported to teach the children their needs in front of us. So
Yeah.
until then, I will happily train and equip parents. I will happily train and equip
That's
TAs.
brilliant. Yeah.
I know there's other charities and stuff that are trying to get training for PAs to be able to give parents respite, because it's so scary. Because even when I was looking at when I was looking at supply teaching, it
Yeah.
says on the SEN tutors, no experience needed. It is it was unqualified, no experience needed.
Showing that
Oh, but
there's no value.
disservice.
That's saying there's no value to this position because
Mm.
anyone can apply, and that's not
I don't.
okay.
Why do we not utilise the adult care system more? Because there is some good workers in that, some
Yeah.
adult services that are really, and because
Yeah.
they get into it because they've got kids that's got it, or because they've got this, so they've already got that. Why do we keep getting people straight out of university and putting them into jobs that,
Yeah.
like, you've got that's a big field, and yes, you might not need the qualification, but again, as a support worker, will be better than a one-to-one trained teacher in a school with a person with
Yeah.
ADHD and autism. They don't need to teach them the maths and English. They just
No.
need to be aware of their behaviour, treat them like nice. And that's the difference, isn't it? There's no professional gets on to that
Respond
level.
to their needs.
Yeah.
Respond to their
Yeah.
needs. Be proactive,
Mhm.
because there's nothing worse. It's like, especially as a parent, when you have said all of these things and all of the support your child needs, and then the teacher or the school don't take any of it on board, and you slowly watch your child unraveling and falling apart, and then there's all this reactive stuff that goes on rather than being proactive. If you'd put in the movement breaks, if you'd, you know,
Yeah.
getting fidget toys taken off them because other children would want one, and it's like,
Not
okay,
allowed to go
well,
to the toilet.
I
the movement
don't even
chairs,
get
or
me.
it's just. But I get it's hard. I get as a teacher
Yeah.
it's hard, 100%. But it needs to be inclusive, and
It
it needs
does.
to be looking at the strategies that are needed
Yeah.
for neurodivergent children, as well as
Absolutely.
any child with a disability, or
Yeah.
like
And I
How
have
is
a
it
bit.
teaching? Sorry, how is it as a teacher? Is it being a teacher? Could you be like an ADHD teacher, or is that the training and the way you have to deliver it very structured as well? So does that prevent people that have ADHD and autism becoming teachers?
there isn't training.
No, there's no
No,
training.
no. But I mean,
Oh, but for
like when you're
us,
doing your day-to-day work, how structured is that? So would someone with ADHD or autism struggle being a teacher because of
Yeah.
how structure?
and
So
you know
then you're not
what?
going to get people in to help because they,
Yeah,
the
and
way
I
that
No,
it
do
is.
me and Lauren did all right,
Yeah,
because I
but
created my own.
undiagnosed.
Yeah.
I look back now and I think I thrived in teaching because I worked really well under pressure.
Yeah, same.
And especially in SEN schools, I thrived because,
Yeah.
you know, we all flock together. And I think
It's
I've,
like
you know,
chaos and confusion every
Yeah.
day, and it's like, I can do this.
but
can
best
do it.
believe I'm doing the deadlines the day before. But,
Yeah,
you know, I was
and
in
also,
management by
but
26 for a
everything,
reason.
you used to have like a plan A, B, and C. I didn't even know I had that, but you did. It wasn't
No.
because everything would go wrong, and you'd be
Yeah.
like, that's fine, because we're going to do this, and then we're going to do that, and then we're going to change. Yeah.
But even in SEN schools, and so I had in my last year when I had my little girl who's now 2, my TA was autistic and absolutely fantastic. And we are there all the time saying that we are inclusive because we are an SEN school. I think even neurodivergent adults, I feel like people think that being autistic expires. And then once you're an adult, it's like, oh, well, that's it, you're an adult. Autistic children become autistic adults, and how we accommodate in them in the workplace as well. And I feel like it's just like people
100%.
Yeah.
It's
People
a
see
lifelong.
it as like, oh,
Nathan, don't you remember, Nathan, you said that you were told that it was only when you were a child, and when you sort of turned 18, you were thinking, well, why
I
hasn't
got
it gone?
categorically told that you got, this is by a psychiatrist, that when I got diagnosed with ADHD, it's only a child thing. There was no evidence in adults. You grow out of it. No,
And
seriously.
that's not even
And
that
there
long
wasn't.
ago.
That was true. Like, that's what they thought then. Like, and then I had a massive way of thinking.
My
Okay,
God.
I also got told categorically that this is only for males and that females
Yeah.
cannot have ADHD.
See?
yeah. And it's still
And then
the
you met
same.
me and you thought, they're liars.
But we show it differently. I think, especially,
Yeah.
you know, people have always said that when I was training SEN, so 15 years ago, it was always, oh, there's more autistic boys.
Boys.
All my classes, even recently, my class is predominantly boys. It's not that there are more autistic boys, it's that it is
Maybe
less
4 to 1.
diagnosed. Women naturally mask. No offence, Nathan, but we're naturally empathetic. We naturally take on the world around us, so we internalise a lot more. So that's why we don't get diagnosed. It's only when I had my children that I was like, oh my God, I've got ADHD. Because I would just lose my mind because I couldn't regulate my nervous system anymore. You asked earlier about the teaching routine being neurodivergent. I had my way. I had my colour, my way. I come home and have my way of chilling out, cup of tea, whatever, I had my routine. And I would literally shut down for 3 hours. No one saw me Monday to Friday. No one saw me. And that's how it was. When you've got children, I go out and work with autistic kids and I come back to my own kids. When do I breathe for myself? And that is overwhelming.
Yeah. And that's why all the stuff you're doing now, advocacy, is great. And it just aligns so perfectly with what we're doing, because it's about supporting each other and knowing that you're not on your own and knowing that there's people out there that get it. And I know we're going to do another podcast, because I'm just mindful that we're probably coming to the end of this one. We're definitely, because I think there's so much more we can talk about.
Well, I mean, you're part of the app now anyway, isn't it? So you should be helping. I said we've got some people from Dorset as well, so that's good to be on there. So I would love to do. I think we mentioned workshops and stuff, didn't we, together?
Yeah.
That we could do, or as a collab. I think would be amazing that we could get going on there. So I think there'll be definitely other opportunities. And do you know what? It's nice speaking to people that kind of get it. Do you know what I mean? Like that kind of. I'm not saying I like people speaking to professionals over parents. I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's nice to know that we're in the middle, so we don't have the full whack of the emotions that the parents get. So I feel sorry for them. I feel really sorry. If you didn't know any better and you believed what they're telling you, you would believe you're the problem. You would believe that you're making it up. You would believe ADHD and autism wasn't enough. And I'm so glad that we can kind of explain and have the chance to be able to help other parents know that it's not their fault. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because the system's complicated. If they're giving us EHCP they've been waiting 3 years for, they'll take it. They're like, oh my God.
And the thing is, sometimes
I've never seen one before.
And sometimes with an EHCP, you push so hard for it, and then when you get it, nothing changes. And you're like, I thought that was going to be something
golden
that,
ticket.
because, and it isn't. And I mean,
not.
don't get me wrong, sometimes it might give more support, but it's hard.
They are needed for child's rights, and I think that's the sad thing. Why should they be needed? Children that are in front of us.
Why shouldn't we have?
I think like every single child should have not a big formal EHCP, but like, who am I? What do I need to learn? And we teach towards that. But I think that would be taking
maybe we'll do that.
That's how I'd run a school.
Inclusive, and it's treating everybody fairly. It's not singling people out for being whether they're because of their race, their colour, their ability, their disability. It's being inclusive, and that's
who are you?
What we want to be. Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much, Lauren.
Thanks, guys, for having me.
That was amazing little podcast.
Yeah, it was.
Good old rant. Take care, guys. Thank you.